In the immortal words of Yoda, wars only make some people great. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about territory wars and the best TW comps and teams to use on offense and defense. I did this same video about a year ago. Things have obviously changed a little bit, so let's talk about them. And first, let's say thanks to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support, guys. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount something. Perhaps the algorithm, I don't know. It's up to you. Or is it? Let's get going here, folks. Whoa, are we in the game? This is madness. Crazy. All right, so the first thing I guess I should point out here, folks, is there's two really important factors that play into TW's success. Other than, like, your guild has to be engaged, and people need to know how to do the counters, and all the stuff that's kind of basic that you would assume. The other thing is more resource-wise. Territory War Omicrons, whereas they're not super popular with a ton of people, they are going to be extremely impactful to your success in Territory Wars. The other thing that's even less amazing for some people, but honestly it's something that people do for GAC anyways, is datacrons are very important for TW, at least a lot of times. And so what I'm going to be showing you guys are the teams that are the best in TW when you don't consider datacrons. Datacrons are going to change things. That's just how it is. And if I'm going to have a guide that lasts for a while, we can't just have it reliant on the current datacron meta. So I did consult with a few different people. Huge shout out to them. I don't think they necessarily want to be named in this video, but they're amazing and I really appreciate it, because I mean, it's well known that I don't love TW, but it is something I can talk about, and I think it does deserve a little consideration, even though it's the oldest game mode that just hasn't changed for years and needs an enormous revamp. We can still talk about the teams and ways to play it better. So we're going to discuss this as if datacrons didn't exist. I'm sure I'll mention them sometimes, but I just want to make sure you guys understand that foundation of what we're talking about. So of course we have ETH here. He's great. He's a team unto himself. He has horns. So all right, first off, we have Jabba. And so all these teams, this isn't necessarily like best to worst, by the way. This is just, I built the teams as they showed up on my on my squad creation thing. You see this? I just pushed unique only, and then all the teams and characters appeared. So I made Jabba first because he was the first one that appeared here. So and then I moved some of them around just so that we could discuss them. So anyways, Jabba first. You really want Embo here with his Datacron, or Omicron if you possibly can. The Skiff Guard Lando doesn't really need it. It's okay, but a lot of times Jabba can be on defense, usually. And this is where Datacrons kind of come into play, is like right now you don't want to put Jabba on defense, even in Territory Wars, because Afra has such an amazing overpowered Omicron or Datacron right now that is just going to destroy Jabba. So even though Jabba's great on defense, and he's almost always on defense, a lot of the top guilds are going to be putting him on off, or keeping him for offense. However, this is the best build to use Jabba on, and typically this is going to be one of the main elements of your defense on defense. Next we have Ahsoka. Obviously she's new. Not every guild is going to have her or the gang, but I mean, this is just her and her 4 marquees that she can use. I guess Ezra's not a marquee. He would be so angry. He's actually pretty chill. I doubt he would be mad at me for calling him a marquee, but you really want both the General Syndulla and Padawan Sabine Omicrons, if at all possible. This is going to be one of your premier defensive teams. This team gets ridiculously strong on defense with both of those Omicrons, and I realize you're spending like 5 Omicrons for the team, between the 3 for Ezra that you want all 3 of. than these two TW ones. But for this team to go into the top level, that both Omicrons, it's just really strong. It helps your defense quite a bit. So there's two different comps for Leia, an offense comp and a defense comp. So the offense comp is really nice. Leia counters like pretty much everything, guys. Even though she has a tougher time against Ahsoka these days with both of the Omicrons, so you want to take Admiral Radis and Jin here for offense if you're going to be countering, I mean, almost anything really, because you can use R2-D2 to put stealth on everyone except for Jin. So she just takes all the hits. And remember, in TW, it doesn't matter how full your health or protection is at the end, you just have to have everyone alive. And so that's really nice. Also, when Jin takes a turn, if you mod her to be pretty quick, then she can hand the turn to Drogon, and Drogon can just one-shot someone pretty nicely with his basic right off the bat. So this team is really nice. You can also revive people with Jin and with Leia. It's pretty good. This is a pretty standard thing to keep for offense. However, if you want to put them on defense, a lot of times Adrad and Jin are just not the very best picks here because the AI doesn't play them very well. Instead, you want more reactive, responsive characters. So characters like Obi-Wan, who gains turn meter when people are hit, or like he just gains it passively, or Mon Mothma, who's able to revive Drogon when things get annoying. Baze would be another one that's pretty good. A lot of different characters that work on kind of a more responsive level. And honestly, the people I asked about keeping Leia and placing Leia, most people said they can't imagine like not having Leia for offense. I mean, they said that it happens sometimes, but it's kind of a surprising development. Now, the Rey team is pretty obnoxious and annoying, and honestly, this is a pretty standard thing. You use Ben solo with, and this costs 2 Omicrons as well. You want Fulcrum Ahsoka, and then of course you want Cal, because without Cal, Fulcrum Ahsoka's Omicron doesn't work. So you would need both their Omicrons to make it work, but it makes it a really fantastic team. And then Barriss is really good to just keep them alive, though of course it makes the team it doesn't have a full complement of unaligned Force users. Barriss is aligned as a Jedi for now, and she's still good there. A lot of people said that she's a great 5th. I know that some people said that they prefer to have some kind of unaligned Force user that's light side, like Seer can also work here. There's a few different teams, but I think Barriss was that was the standard one that a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of these teams being placed. So yeah, this team is fairly obnoxious on defense. Typically, you just want to put it on defense. Now there's this Jedi Master Kenobi team, which if you want to put Kenobi on defense, you probably want Mace in there. And Mace, so swap him out with Padme instead. And of course, you want the Mace Omicron. It's a very good one, and it helps your whole team just delete people. It's a really nice Omicron on defense. It's also really nice for a Keller and Beck team, who a lot of times people are going to be keeping him for offense, because even though he's decent on defense, he's largely been solved by teams like Jedi Master Luke, or there's a few other teams that you can just kind of delete this team with. And so usually you keep it for offense, and you take out their kind of less effective, less good defensive comps as well. And Mace is really nice on either team. The Jedi Master Kenobi team on offense doesn't really need Mace necessarily, though it's a nice little crutch. If you want Mace, typically is going to go with Keller and Beck. Though if like I said, if Kenobi's on defense, you really want 2 tanks, because teams like Inquisition are going to immediately delete one of your tanks just instantly, and so usually they'll kill Mace, but then Kenobi's still there, and I would guess that Inquisition still don't have that much of a problem. Of course, it's all Datacron reliant and blah blah blah, but Mace does kind of shake things up. So these two teams are they're good. They're good. Keller and Beck, I should add, guys, he needs his Omicron if you're going to use this team on offense or on defense for that matter. He's really good if he has his Omicron. Now we have Lord Vader. Obviously, we have the clone troopers incoming. We still don't even have Scorch unlocked yet, so no one can take my advice to use Lord Vader with the clones yet. Though that time is coming. For right now, the best Lord Vader comp is the one that we've been used to for a while. If you put it on defense, I mean, this is what people call like the generic Lord Vader comp, and this is the one that's countered by a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it's still good if you put Thrawn, if you get him really fast, and then Lord Vader, of course, gives him another 40 speed. You can make this team kind of a pain in the butt, but it's not transcendent. I mean, we all know the weaknesses of Lord Vader by this point. He's still a galactic legend. A lot of times you keep him for offense. You can counter a few different things with him. You know, I know that other people were talking about taking out like Jabba's with him sometimes, for instance. So you can just still do some decent things with him. And now I'm second guessing myself. I think they said Jabba's, but one way or another, he's all right on offense. He's not that great on defense. Pretty soon, this team isn't going to exist, so it doesn't matter if I'm second guessing myself. Now, we have Supreme Leader Kylo, and we have an interesting couple teams here. So first off, the Phasma team is more and more limited. I know people are gonna, Phasma truthers are gonna get in the comments and say, man, you're doing Phasma disservice. She's so good. She kills all the things. And I would agree that early and mid game, she is actually a pretty good character. And she can do some interesting stuff with her Omicron. She's the first Territory War Omicron, and it's amazing that she's still actually somewhat relevant, honestly. But the times have changed. There's a lot of teams that just don't care about her turn meter train, or rather they just disregard it as primitive. And so whereas she can ride the turn meter train really nicely, and there are still a few comps that she can take down. Like a lot of times you can take out Starkiller teams, for instance, but people are placing that team less and less on defense as well. The Phasma team is kind of running out of steam. And Supreme Leader Kylo is more and more complete now that we have the dark side Rey, the pointy teeth Rey team. You can do some pretty cool stuff. If you want to put it on defense, you want double tank for the most part, and then of course Hux wants to be there. And if you want to put it on defense, then you certainly can't usually use Phasma for offense because she needs Hux and Kylo Ren unmasked. Now, if you want to keep Phasma on offense and Supreme Leader Kylo on offense, you can do things like put Night Sisters here with them, and what that'll do, and you probably don't actually want Stormtrooper because they'll be able to kill Stormtrooper and get rid of one of your banners, but you probably just hide behind Zombie is typically what happens. And then Zombie can't die because you have an infinite supply of advantage, and so Zombie it just gets targeted over and over, and slowly over time Supreme Leader Kylo and Darkside Rey eventually eradicate the team. So it's fine, you can do that. It's just not as effective. It doesn't have the range of teams that it can typically take out. And a lot of times you just want to put Kylo on defense anyways. If you put double tank, it's all right. I guess maybe not a lot. Like there's a lot of people, a lot of guilds who are going to be able to pick that apart one way or another. But it is an option for offense or for defense. Jedi Master Luke never want to use it for defense, of course. And this team typically just, I mean, it doesn't kill a whole ton of stuff these days. Honestly, poor old Jedi Master Luke. What you want to look for is a team with like Kelleran Beck as lead on defense. You can take that team out pretty nicely. You know, you can take advantage of a few different teams if your opponent doesn't place like a really strong board. Jedi Master Luke does get more and more relevant, but poor guy, he's dated. I mean, that's how he was in the movies. That's how he is in the game. Can we really blame them for that? So the Shinha T Omicron is very strong for this team. You can put it on defense. You can keep it for offense. Kira and L3 are really good. You can put Hondo here instead of one of them. And the team is actually, it's pretty useful on both offense and defense. You can do quite a bit with them. A lot of people have been throwing them on defense just because people still don't know like a wonderful counter to it when you have the Shin Omicron. And so I mean, This is one of those team. I mean, it's newfangled, obviously, but it's been around long enough. And I think the really nice thing about this team in TW is it just doesn't take that many Omicrons. It's just like, okay, you use one Omicron to turn the team on, flip the switch on, and then you're good. You're good to go. Unlike the next team, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, this is a team that people use on offense quite a bit. The standard comp is going to always be Dark Trooper Moff Gideon with other Moff Gideon and Scout Trooper, and then usually Death Trooper and TIE Fighter Pilot just for extra offense. You can swap out the TIE Fighter Pilot for Enoch if you're going into like a high damage situation and you need to stop them from critting you. But for the most part, the thing that really struggles with this team, with the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, is it costs 3 Omicrons a lot of times to really make this team tick at the highest level, to be able to take out I know that it can like beat Night Sisters, for instance. It could beat a few of the really nice teams out there, and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon really wants 3 of his Omicrons, which, as you can see, I have most of these Omicrons actually, guys. People say like, oh man, I can't believe Zareth even applied 1 Omicron. I have most of them. If you've been paying attention, I do have most of them. Not every single one, but pretty close, man. I have 2 on Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, and you really do want a 3rd one if you're gonna go out and destroy things. But the fact that he really penalizes a lot of the turn meter shenanigans that a lot of teams do, I mean, that's what makes him so great against teams like, I don't know, Jedi Master Luke, for instance, like some of these older teams, like Phasma especially. Like, you think Phasma is going to beat Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, especially with his Omicrons? Almost certainly not. He is a very strong character. So the Great Mother's team, this is where the Night Trooper and Death Trooper Peridia are. And I guess there's 2 different comps here. So sometimes you want to use Marin just because it shuts down some of the comps that people have been using. Like, for instance, people have been using Malgus teams to beat the standard Great Mother's team, and so if you put Marin there, it changes the odds of them being able to win, and you can do better with Marin instead of Night Trooper. Typically, that's who you swap out. You want to keep Death Trooper Peridia in there, and honestly, the only way that this team is excusable on defense is with a couple Omicrons. Like, both Omicrons are just really good. The one that you want to apply first here is, if you have to choose, is the one that stops your team from being able to be instantly defeated. So, like, Nihilists can't just go in and destroy someone, or you know, Bounty Hunter Mando, whatever. So this team, a lot of times people are going to be putting this on defense. It just messes with too many different teams. It's just really strong with both of those Omicrons on the Great Mothers. They do really well. So you can choose if you want Marin there, if you want Night Trooper. I don't care, guys. Do what you want. So Sith Eternal Emperor with Bane, a lot of times. So Bane, obviously, he doesn't have Omicrons in TW. He's still good enough a lot of times to take out a team on his own. Sometimes, at least. He's just that strong of a character. Well, you know, you need another character to go with him. And the problem with that is, you miss banners, and I know that a lot of guilds just don't care that much. They're like, dude, as long as you kill the team, that's fine. Whatever banners is fine. Go get me a 17, get me a 19. Like, 19 is great. It's almost 20. And I guess at the top level of TW, like the guilds that take it very seriously, they really care about that banner's efficiency. That's what it really comes down to. And so you just attach Bane to Sith Eternal Emperor, because he's not doing that much anyways these days. So Sith Eternal Emperor with Darth Bane, you'll kill something, they won't get killed, you'll get a 20, and you're good to go. Plus, I mean, Darth Bane's a little weaker in TW, so it's nice to have him hanging out with a GL buddy. The Inquisition, you probably want to keep this for offense. There's a lot of teams that are beating it when it's on defense these days, but you really want, like, the Grand Inquisitor lead is actually not terrible. If your opponent does place Inquisition on defense, if you use Grand Inquisitor lead, I've done this before myself, actually, because I have the lead. I also have the unique, which is fantastic, or the special, actually, which is fantastic. But the Grand Inquisitor lead actually beats Reva lead. if in the mirror match. So that's a really interesting side effect. The other thing that you really want, and the one that you really like almost want to immediately add right away, is his special, the one that just auto kills a Jedi, because he can ignore taunt and just kill a Jedi. So he just kills Mace Windu, he kills Jedi Master Kenobi, General Kenobi right away. If there's a Keller and Beck team, you can take one of them out. There's always going to be Jedi in this game, folks, and him being able to instantly kill one of them, pretty nice, I would have to say. So Trench is one of those other teams that you're... It's just so tough, guys. Unless you really love TW, you like a lot of people are saying you want all 3 Omicrons on Trench, and if you can't get all 3, get 2. I'll get the basic because it makes a huge difference. I just haven't done it because I don't want it, man. I don't feel like it. But this is the team. It's good. It's good for offense. This is a lot of times. This is the team that if you put it on defense, it gets targeted by like the easy teams, like the teams the guys that are like, oh, we can't really kill anything else but Trench. Like Phasma can take out Trench, for instance. So you got to be cautious placing this on defense. On offense, depending on what's going on. I mean, right now, like there's a Datacron that gives Count Dooku some really cool stuff, and so Phasma's probably going to have a rougher time against it, for instance. But you put it on defense now, other times it just doesn't have that much defense against some of the even lower level comps. So you got to be cautious on putting this on defense. On offense, it can kill a few different things. Really, unfortunately, this team, I get the sense that this team is starting to fade, even though people still defend it pretty vociferously. It's still it's on the lower range of usefulness at this point. Not useless, but it's expensive for 3 Omicrons. I'll say that. One team that keeps getting a lot of use and people put it on defense a lot is this Gun team. You put the Omicron on Boss Nass, and it actually is kind of a huge... He puts the ass in Nass. It's a pretty gross team. So, yeah, you should definitely go do that, I guess, if you have frogs and you like them. Or even if you don't like them, like me. We have General Grievous. This team is more and more, or less and less usable as well, but the Droideka Omicron is still pretty strong. Sometimes you swap out B1 in favor of Stap. That's not too common. Droideka it still does some cool stuff. It still deletes people, but this team is more, I mean, solved lately than usual. So unfortunate, man. I mean, it's probably going to have some use with this current Datacron set, of course, because that's how Datacrons work. But only one Omicron is required for that team, so that's nice. The new Bad Batch, they do have 2 Omicrons available, but you only really need the Hunter one. The Batcher one is just not that good, apparently, and you can put it on defense. You can also, it's decent on offense as well. From what I've heard, guys, it's actually holding its ground against some Galactic Legends. I don't want to speculate too far on it or let too much of the cat out of the bag, but I think it is actually countering a few different things that are fairly important at this point. So this team on offense, pretty good. On defense, I think it's exploitable, but it's still new enough that a lot of people are going to misunderstand what it can do and lose. The Queen Amidala team is really nice because you only need 1 Omicron for that one. Qui-Gon Jinn, or Master Qui-Gon, and this team, it just makes Qui-Gon hit really hard, and you actually have to mod him differently. You want him to have a bunch of crit damage, actually, because of his Omicron, but then C-3PO and Ki-Adi-Mundi are apparently the best ones to go with this team, which is really interesting to me. I didn't realize that. I figured Ki-Adi-Mundi would go with Keller and Beck, and I think he can. I think Ki-Adi-Mundi just goes really nicely on this team on defense, and you just put it on defense and let your opponent struggle a little bit. The Phoenix team, of course, if you have the Omicron on Hera, can ramp damage pretty nicely, and so if you want to counter Inquisition if they're on defense, this is like what people consider the cheap option to take out Inquisition. You take out Kanan and add a pre-taunt like Geo Brood Alpha. or any number of other just tanks that pre-taunt, because then you'll take the torture move from what's his name from the Grand Inquisitor on that character, and then you'll just basically have infinite turn meter loop with the Hera team, and you'll eventually be able to ramp enough damage to take them out. Now the Starkiller team, I've heard more and more that Juhani is, I mean, she's still fine on this team, but this team doesn't really, it's not holding its ground the way it used to, and a lot of times you aren't using EP or Mara Jade on this team. A lot of times you're using that team for offense to take out teams such as the ones I mentioned before, like the Trenches and of the world, the teams that are just a little bit lower level that can be exploited by turn meter loops. And so, anyways, if you want to put this team on defense, you do really need the Juhani Omicron. Of course, that's the only way you can really use Starkiller on or in TW in the first place. It's not really that usable otherwise, but then you can use like an OG Kylo here, Visas, just characters you're not really using. Traya, unfortunately, isn't that useful in TW unless you're using her as lead, which the lead kind of can give some problems to a lot of the comps that are going to try countering you. Of course, like a lot of people, even the people who use Phasma, a lot of times Phasma can take this team out, actually, and that the people who are good at that Phasma team, who have it well modded, will be able to exploit this team. But if you want it, I mean, Giovanni's still one of the best Omicrons of the game. It's just, poor old Starkiller, man, he's just kind of diminished. So the EP Mara, so what I'm told is, the Mara is actually, her Omicron is still amazing, and you can turn meter just destroy people, because you just start preloaded with your turn meter and you go in and wreck people. Obviously, the Thrawn is mutually exclusive. If you put him on defense with Lord Vader, or you need him for offense with Lord Vader, then of course he's not on this team. But he's more available now that Lord Vader's getting a new retinue. So the Dead Bod Boba team, this is a team that people are usually exclusively beating the old school Lord Vader team with, and it does a pretty good job of it, actually. But I mean, I know that we have the Scion of Jango Datacron right now, but it's not gonna, this team is it's explicitly not going to beat Lord Vader teams. Like they even have that built into the Datacron. And so I think this team's time is limited, guys. It's not its days are numbered. You can also, you don't have to use Grief here. You can use IG and Queel here instead of Bosk and Grief. But this team is also very strong. Well, it's all right. This will take out some of like the B level teams, but you're just not finding as many B level teams these days. And Scion of Jango really kind of wants a couple Omicrons if you can get them. So. Then we have a couple, nothing too crazy. So people are gonna be real angry. The Geonosian truthers. I mean, I don't even have the Poggle Omicron, but if you do have the Poggle Omicron, this team can do okay. It does all right. Early and mid game, they do great. They can counter a bunch of stuff. You can put it on defense, and people will just totally melt to the pressure of these crazy bugs. However, they're just not they don't have as much going on, man. They're not killing as much. They're not holding as much end game. There's just a lot of things that solve it. So probably you could save your Omicron if your guild like requires you to put the Omicron here. I mean, it's not the worst one. Just know that its days are numbered. I mean, it's going. There's only a total of what, 16 teams going to be used in each TW, right? 9 of those are Galactic Legends, so that the other 7 teams are just vying. They're elbowing their way to be used, and Geos just don't have the elbows for that. They don't anymore. They just can't really do it. So yes, they're usable early game, especially when not every guild has every single team, you know, in mid game, but they just get more and more pushed out as you get more, as you expand teams. So that's the same way with the Boba Fett team. The, you know, Scion of Jango, the Starkiller team, even using like the Hera team. It's just making way for teams like Bad Batch and the Queen Amidala team. So, and then of course we have other teams that, I mean, I mentioned Darth Malgus earlier. It's not like it's a terrible squad anymore, or at all, but it doesn't really pack the punch to become like a mainstream team. Unfortunately, like Bo-Katan, she can do some stuff, but the TW Kron on her, or Omicron on her team just doesn't really make it super awesome for TW. You know, Afra, I mentioned her before with her Datacron. It's great currently, but it's just it's situational. Sometimes you just you'll go like a whole year without using Afra if you don't have the right Datacron. General Skywalker's team, of course. I mean, it's hard to say that that team is totally irrelevant, but it's just not countering as many things. Commander Luke, he just runs on pure turn meter train nonsense, and like I said, more and more teams disregard that turn meter nonsense. So, you know, and those aren't the only teams. Of course, there's a ton of one. Like I just made a list of 40 teams that we have in this game, but these are the ones that are maybe the most relevant that I could think of, at least, that weren't mentioned. So anyways, what are some teams in TW that you guys like that I didn't mention? What are some variations of these teams that you can use these guys in, and you know, be able to get an advantage? I would actually love to hear it. I'm paying more and more attention to TW. I actually think I'll be putting out more TW content in the future, so I would love your input, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth and Eth prevails. Zareth!